Well, hey everybody, this is Don with Wizard Tower Games, and with me are the illustrious,
Ken Carr?
And Tom from Tabletop Tap Room.
and
Tom,
we
I gotta
are.
say that was a very short intro. That was
Caught me
Yeah,
off guard, man. I was ready to blow
the
my nose, and I was like, what the hell?
yep. This is the Wizard Tower Games intro. It's not the 35-minute long vlog of many things intro,
no,
but we can change that if you guys want. We
no,
can do that
no.
real easy.
No.
pretty good.
It was funny because the live stream I was on last night was it was like, oh wait, that was the wrong intro. I was like, well, okay then.
Yep. Well, tonight's video, what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about Stars and Sails, the backer kit that Wizard Tower Games ran with Pauly Kidd. We did reach our funding tonight. After only
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah.
After 5 days only, we reached it, and we got 16 days to go. So I figured do a little publisher talk, and that is anyone who has any questions about the game, anybody who has any questions about the minis, delivery, when's it being delivered, how's it being delivered, what's included, what's not included. I am all ears,
I
and
have a question.
shoot, go right
Uh, the,
ahead.
the name is Stars and Sails.
Yep.
What's the thought behind that? I'm just curious. It's just
Stars and Sails. It was inspired by a lot of Disney product, and basically what it is Sails comes from the swashbuckling pirate galleons that take place in the game, and stars are the fact that they can travel in space and
okay.
type stuff. So it's kind of like a swashbuckling space opera, RPG. Uh, Sci-fi fantasy mixed with steampunk mixed with Walt Disney, although I never said Walt Disney. Strike that from the public record because I don't want to piss off the mouse. But real quick, in Base Ace, thank you for, by the way, tuning in, and thank you for upping your pledge this evening to going all in. Much appreciated. So,
Yeah,
if
you don't want the mouse to come clean your house.
no, not at all. And if anybody has any questions in chat, by all means, you guys are live in chat. Go ahead and ask. I'm happy to answer them. And
So what kind of rule system is Stars and Sails? I mean, are we going to recognize it as it's what's the base rules?
it is a D20 based system, high roll.
Okay.
So basically, the way Pauly has designed is everything starts off at a base roll of 11. There is modifiers for up and down, of course, based on different factors and such in the game. Let me real quick. Dave Thompson, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. And Scott Baker, thanks for tuning in. Piles of Gold Planet. And that's another thing about this game that is pretty cool, and that is there's star systems and such that you can go ahead and there's a base system that comes with the game. So it kind of has its own campaign setting. But also there are rules inside the game that you can actually make your own star system. You can make your own ships. There's ship-to-ship combat. It's really a really cool game on the overall.
Well, out of curiosity, I just Googled Piles of Gold Planet and Google's AI overview.
Yeah, AI. But this is no AI in this game, by the way. This is all...
Came up with 16 Psyche, which is a small asteroid in our solar system that's sometimes called Gold Planet because it's thought to be rich in gold. NASA plans to explore Psyche in a mission in 2029.
Nice. Real quick, In Base Ace asks, after its release, will I be able to have my local hobby store order a copy? Yes. Actually, we are in the process of redoing our website. We are going to be offering direct distribution to hobby and game shops like we already do. All hobby and game shops are going to be able to get a standard industry discount, so there's nothing funky going on with that. But in Base Ace, there's only one thing here. In order to get the hardcover color version of the game, you have to go ahead and support the backer kit. The only game that's going to be retail level is going to be the soft cover black and white version. So if you want the hardcover full color, you got to do the backer kit. Scott Baker said, I was trying to reference a mouse-related property. Yes, and I'll just say it, Treasure Planet, because Polly talks about it. It was heavily influenced. Polly was really influenced by the movie Treasure Planet by Disney. So some of the themes and ideas behind it, which are open source, there's nothing trademark about it, heavily got into this game. Just like us, we play D&D. We're influenced by Conan. We're influenced by a lot of different things, type stuff. So yeah, Scott Baker, Treasure Planet. So a couple other things. Go ahead.
I was thinking Peter Pan. Pirate Galleons that Fly. I went straight to Peter Pan, and then you said sci-fi. I went, oh, it's a little different, but you do a riff off of Peter Pan for sure.
But you know what? The funny thing is, when I read the RPG initially, I thought of Peter Pan.
Okay.
Of Captain Hook and the ship that's flying magically through the air and such. And again, this game, if you think of pirate adventures mixed with sci-fi, you can do everything from shooting a musket pistol all the way to a phase plasma rifle in this game. And there's a whole bunch of really unique aspects about this game that I'm going to get into in a little bit. But real quick, get something out of the way, and that is delivery of the game. Delivery of the game is taking place in May. We're going to do shipping in May, but for those of you that are coming to Kalamazoo, Michigan to go see the game convention WizardCon, we are going to have copies there. So if you want to pick up your copy, then you can get it in the last weekend in April. So for about 2 weeks early, you can grab it if you come to Kalamazoo.
Nice.
So, but
you could actually write a Peter Pan adventure, because I'm looking right here. It says that Peter Pan, the novel, is in public domain. The stage and play adaptions are not.
Yes. And in this game, basically what's available in this, with this game right now in a backer kit is we have the hardcover, which is a hardcover full color, which is exclusive to backer kit. But also there are things in backer kits such as add-ons. There is a 6 mini add-on that we have custom minis for the game, 28 millimeter. You also can do an add-on for a game screen, a GM game screen. You can grab yourself a t-shirt if you want with a custom logo on it, stuff like that. In Base Ace asks, he says, I have gotten some ideas for adventures already by watching some early episodes of One Piece. Yes. And just because you mentioned One Piece, if you want to come to WizardCon, there's going to be some One Piece tournaments happening by one of the local game shops there. So if you're into One Piece, there you go. But yeah, like I said, we did fund, so the game is a go, happily. 16 days to go on it, and it is shipping in May. Any questions about any rules, mechanics, anything else about the game you guys are wondering about? Anyone?
Bueller?
No? Well,
I'm here as the unofficial Kickstarter expert, and you funded in 5 days out of a 21-day funding period.
Yes.
So my Kickstarter fee puts you in the $12,000 to $15,000 range, most likely.
Nice.
That's because I've been following Kickstarters for well over a decade.
Yeah.
And how you do out of the box really indicates how you're going to finish. And I'm very excited to see this because it's a very professional looking project with good people behind it. So,
well, the nice thing about PolyKid, for those of you who don't know, PolyKid is a highly experienced game designer. PolyKid is the creator of a very, very popular NES game called Shadowrun, one of the most popular NES fantasy games out there. PolyKid also wrote for Wizards of the Coast. Polly Kidd wrote the novel Descent in the Depths of the Earth and also White Plume Mountain. Polly Kidd is the creator of the RPG Lace and Steel. So she has quite a bit of lineage behind her as far as, game design. Question is, will there be a way to come up with traps or any trap tables? Yes, there are trap tables in it. And actually, there are mechanics in there that you're going to be shown how to create specialized traps in space, on ships, and that type of stuff. Polly did a really thorough job on this game. It's what's really cool about this game also is it's all in one. It's all one game. So you're not going to get hit with anything later on. You don't have to buy something later in order to go ahead and play the game. Now, Eric, if you're right, and we do start getting up into these amounts of $7,500, $10,000, $12,000 of funding, we are going to be adding things to the game. Like as an example, we're going to be adding player character record sheets.
Nice.
A pack of those. So you'll be able to get like a pack of like 6 or 10 player character record sheets. They're going to be very custom to the game, themed out. Also, if we hit $10,000 funding mark, I'm going to 3D model some large ships that are going to be themed and steampunked out. And also, me and Polly talked about it. If we go ahead and we hit higher than that, we're thinking about, and we're going to be getting more into it as we start getting some higher numbers. And it was actually Polly had this idea, is taking like a board, which is a ship,
Right.
and having it where you can add custom chits, if you will, cardboard pieces to it, color that modify the ship. And that way, when you're playing against somebody at the table and you're doing ship-to-ship combat, it can actually kind of cross over almost into a tabletop combat game too.
Oh, that's very cool.
So those are some of the things that we're talking about now. But at this point, when you first start out something like this, you're kind of just hoping, let's get this thing funded first.
Right.
And so we hit 5 days funded. So that is a real positive sign. I hope you're right, Eric.
So how many pages total in the?
It's going to run roughly about 300 pages.
So this is a substantial rule book, all in space combat, trap tape, game master support.
Yep. Everything is in one manual that you need. Anything else that we create as this starts to fund more will just be ancillary bonus items that you don't need to play the game, but if you want to get them, they will help you have more fun with the game.
Now, are there plans to support the game, the property with support material, adventures?
Absolutely. What we're going to be doing is once the game is out and running, we're going to be having adventure modules and such, and also adding more minis. But the minis that we have currently are going to be exclusive to Backer Kit. In Base Days actually asked a question about the minis. They ask, are the minis represented by art in the book? Yes, they are now, because the minis were custom made by me. So the design work on the minis that you see actually in the Backer Kit will be represented inside the book, and they're kind of themed off of some of the artwork that was done by the artist. And I want to preface one more thing real quick before the subject comes up. There is no AI in this book. Me and Polly talked about it. And, we all know that AI is out there. AI is a very easy and convenient thing that publishers can use. But I personally, as a publisher, cannot use AI and then look at people like Eric Lofgren and such with a straight face. I just couldn't do that to these men, because these are artists that helped me when I first started out by saying, Don, you don't even have to pay for it here. You can have some of this art for your projects. Just use my name. So I am a really huge fan of just the art is going to be what's going to be. Polly already contracted with an artist already, and she had already provided a whole bunch of art, and I'm doing some of the answers. You guys have seen some of my art. I did the pencil artwork in Blades and Arcana.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to match that Disney style, that kind of like that really whimsical, fun style.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Yep. So, but yes, Tom, just kind of expand a little bit on what you're saying. Later on, we are going to be offering some goodies, such as like ancillary products like game modules and such. And if the game begins to really take off and do well, I don't see us not. I could see us definitely doing something like maybe like a expanded ships book, or maybe how to create an expanded universe, how to create your own world or something. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff down the pipe for this.
Well, it occurs to me, because what this setting sounds like, you could just grab like D&D miniatures that you have and use those.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I just happen to have here on my desk these giant ants I was basing up, and these were just these were just a package I got at a store for during the Halloween season. It was just plastic ants, and I thought those would be perfect on a little 2-inch base. I'll have 6-7 giant ants for my D&D game whenever I want to use.
Yeah.
You just, whatever you've got for miniatures that you just happen to like, you'll be able to use them with this. And I love when miniatures can do double duty. Like if I have an Italian colonial army, but I added a few steampunk things, and now it's an Italian colonial steampunk army.
Yeah. And
I like doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, and In-Base A says, will there be an adventure in a book? Actually, yes, there's actually going to be a 3 different adventures in the book. Nice. Along with that, there's going to be a section, or there is a section in the book that gives you step-by-step directions on how to create your own adventure. So if you're kind of new to it and you don't really know how to do it, it's a very easy step 1, step 2, step 3 type of thing to get an adventure fired up for your players inside the book. So, like I said, Paulie was really thorough in this, and this is where you can see Paulie's lineage of game design and role-playing game design and the professionalism that she works under, because she's really professional in what she does, and she's really spot on. She tells you she's going to do something, she does it, and she does it exactly when she said she's going to do it. So, real pleasure to work with.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but like I said, Stars and Sales. Real quick, Mr. Gunn, how you doing, my friend? He says, "Yep, we're all well. We're all sitting here, Mr. Gunn. We're talking about Stars and Sales. It is our backer kit that just funded after 5 days. You can look at the link down below, or you can go ahead and go to backerkit.com and then just simply search Stars and Sales, and we come right up. So
nice.
There we go. But yeah, it's just a really cool game. Me and you, Tom, talked about doing like a like we were talking about doing some type of, we were thought maybe we could do Star Frontiers, and then me, you, and Eric, all 3 of us started talking about doing the Blades and Arcana sci-fi version, and now you guys are doing the sci-fi version for Blades and Arcana.
Yeah.
This is just something that's really, really cool, because with me, in my mind, I'm developing minis in my head. I'm thinking like, some type of steamship galleon with like a balloon on top, with like a big coal furnace in the back, belching black smoke that powers it, with the twin propellers in the back, that type of thing.
If you develop a 3D print piece of terrain, which is what a steampunk airship is,
yeah,
you're going to sell that not just to people who buy into Stars and Sales, but I mean all across the board. This is a popular theme.
Yeah.
People are kit bashing boats and doing up the they find some kids play school boat, and then they kit bash the hell out of it. And now it's and then they put pictures on the miniatures Facebook pages. You can see that all the time. So if you have a really nice boat that people can purchase, you're going to sell that. That's going to sell. You're going to make some nice ancillary side money on that, I think.
Yep, and that's what the cover is going to look like. There might be some slight modifications to it, but that's pretty much, I'll call it 90% cover of what it's going to look like. So, and let's see real quick. Let me get out of this. And there's another question. How will leveling up be handled? Basically, what will happen with leveling up is it's kind of a classic RPG system with XPs, experience points, and that's how you will level up. Now, a unique thing about this game, there are no classes. There are species, and species or races, depending on what you want to call them. But there are no classes. Instead, what will happen is you will choose and or roll for a series of personality traits and quirks. So it's kind of like an open-ended system to where you can do pretty much anything, but there's penalties based upon quirks and oddities with the character and such. So, again, it's a really unique system that Paulie created here. But I'll give her one thing. When I first got into it, I was like, oh, this is going to be highly complicated. This is going to be a pain in the butt to understand. No, I understood it very quickly. Been really, really spot on with how she's doing the rules and everything. Paul, how you doing, my friend? Paul says, I've been following Paulie's channel for over a year. She brings a wealth of knowledge from her wargaming roots. Yes, she does. And that wargaming knowledge kind of bleeds into this game because of the fact of the mass combat that you can do with ship-to-ship combat, and ships can attack each other and they have to board each other and actually do, melee combat among the ships and such.
Yeah.
So Dave Thompson, how you doing? Scott Mulder, Scott, how you doing? Agile Monk says, yep, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in to our live here. Scott, yeah, you snuck the live in. Yeah, Mr. Gunn, everyone abandoned you. That's right. By the way, Mr. Gunn, I finally saw a photo of you. What is her name from Wisconsin? Oh, her birthday's in 2 days.
What, the pixie?
Yes. She took a picture of the infamous Mr. Gunn, so we have your photo for the wanted poster, Mr. Gunn.
Uh-oh.
So, gotcha. But yeah, so that's another cool thing about it is like, as an example, you have ship-to-ship combat from a distance where, they can do the broadsides and such, but also you'll run into situations where my ship may want to attack Tom's and board Tom's. And meanwhile, 10 cars behind me and he's trying to board my ship. So mass combat capability
without boarding actions.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of where she thought of everything, So, like I said, really interesting game system, really interesting rules behind it. And, I want to stress something here very important so people do not misunderstand this, and that is if you want the hardcover version of this, which is the hardcover full color interior with the gloss paper, you have to buy it via the backer kit. It is not going to be available for sale outside the backer kit.
Oh, so it's a backer kit exclusive. That's pretty cool.
Yes, it's an exclusive to the backer kit. Yeah. And then In Base Ace also asks, will there be possibility of player death? How will death be handled in combat? Okay. As the game sits right now, you do not have to kill characters in the game. That is a mechanic that Paulie put into it where death is not really factored in. If you are more of an OSR style player, like the three of us are, where we're more used to a more classic D&D style game where bad things happen to good people, right. You can, of course, have 0 hit points and die. It's up to the player, but death is not innately a part of the game in Base Ace. And then Mr. Gunn says, Don, I'm not sure that is accurate. Where was this alleged photo taken? I rarely leave my dank lair. But yeah, so there's a lot of things that are factored into this game that are really interesting. Like I said, a lot of things that would be kind of a little alien to people like me, Tom, and Eric is, no death in the game. But
I have a comment on that because of Paulie's wargaming background,
Mhm.
in the wargaming clubs, there's a phrase that we say at the table when somebody's agonizing over should I attack with these minis or not, and the phrase is, we don't feel their pain. That
Yeah.
you could have hordes, regiments of cavalry get slaughtered charging a square. It really doesn't matter. We don't feel
Mhm.
their pain, and so character death is less of a thing to a wargamer versus an RPGer.
Yeah.
But I do like that both things are in the game. That
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that we tried doing was we're trying to accommodate, all aspects of player taste and such. We do have session zeros in the game, but they're more streamlined. So, Paulie wanted to have the aspect of if people wanted to go ahead and sit down with your players in the very beginning, understand what your players are comfortable with, what the boundaries are, you can go ahead and do that in the game. There is a rule set at the very beginning about session zeros, on how to handle them. And also for those who just figure we don't need a session zero because we know our group really well, you don't have to have that. But
we
it
don't
is
need no
there.
stinking session zero.
What's that?
We don't need no stinking session zero.
Some people do not need that. Some people are comfortable with it. So that's what we did. Excuse me. So, but like I said, the hardcover is a backer kit exclusive. When you go into the backer kit and you do support the backer kit, you have 3 levels you can support the backer kit. You can do the basic soft cover support, which is a soft cover perfect bound book. You can do the deluxe, which is the hardcover full color interior gloss paper, or you can do what we call all in. When you do the all in, you get the full color hardcover book, you get the minis, you get the Game Master shield, the whole kit and caboodle. You get it all, and it's actually a better price than if you do add-ons. So
So what's the all in?
the all in, I believe, and I got to double check it because I'm kind of
125.
going. Yeah, 125. I was going to say 130. Thank you, Eric, for correcting me.
Yep.
So basically, if you took all the add-ons that you're getting on the all-in and you total up, it'd be about 145, 150 bucks. So you're saving about 25, 30 bucks if you do all in. Scott Mulder asks real quick, this seems like a more cinematic scope, kind of like a TV show or a movie where you want danger to players and death could be on the table but does not contribute to life of a campaign. Yes, it is a very cinematic, Errol Flynn. I'll use Paulie's kind of flair for it. Like Paulie says, it's kind of like an Errol Flynn, dueling on the decks of the ship while the ship is burning and cannonballs are bouncing off the masts and that type of thing. So it's a very broad scope. Cinematic scope is a really good way of putting it, Scott. And it's just, but you don't have to play it that way. You can play it singly. There's a 1-player version of this game. So if you're by yourself and you just want to kind of play against the game itself, you can do that. In Base A says, how will actions be handled? Action points are a certain number of actions possible per turn. It is a certain amount of actions per turn. And it also, just to clarify, you are going to, it is a skill-based system also. Mr. Gunn says, real quick, Don, you're going to be able to fulfill hard copy orders by 525 Ambitious. Actually, no, it's not, because unlike what happened with Lost Adventures, I'm all prepared this time. I've got all my paper, all my backboard stock, all of that good stuff. We do our own binding here, so we handle it ourselves. So this game is, and this is what helps us, this game is written, it is fully edited, it is, artwork is about 95% done. We're just waiting on a couple pieces. And right now we're about 3/4 through layout, Mr. Gunn. So it is extremely simple. And I have the capability here. I can, in hardbound, I can do hardbound books at about 120 a day. So 80 to 120, depending on how fussy my machine is. So ambitious normally, yes, but Don learned from the last time. So You know, unfortunately, we're still waiting on our 320 Black Cord GSM. China's being a jerk. Sorry. So Scott Baker says, awesome, ready to go. Yep. And then Mr. Gunn says, well done, then best of luck. Yes, this is the thing. I want to explain something. This is very important to understand here, okay? We do our own binding here and our own printing. So we kind of have an edge over a lot of other publishers out there that do this. And one of the problems that we had last time was we waited until after we funded, well, to buy paper and such. Well, I had an excess of paper because of the Lost Adventures of GaryCon. We had an excess of paper. So I have my paper on hand. We have ink on hand, and we don't use toner, we use ink. And then on top of that, we have all of our glue, all of our board stock, and all of that. So bingo. Jacob Hook. Oh, a very, very good question. Jacob Hook, thank you for tuning in. He says, could you do a PDF EPUB backer level? Actually, every single level, and you'll see it explained inside the levels, every single level automatically gets a PDF and EPUB level. We thought about doing a strictly PDF EPUB backer level, but the problem with that was we'd have to price it at a level that, frankly, you might as well just get the soft cover version of it and run with it.
Jacob has a point, though, for those that are overseas, like in the EU, Australia, New Zealand, who want to get a copy. It may be cost prohibitive to get a physical copy. So they may be willing to pay a premium price for a PDF. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yes. But there's one thing that will be offered once the game is out there and done, as an example. So we have funded, the game is out there, and it's up on our website. It's for sale. There will be an option for you to purchase the EPUB PDF combo.
Okay.
That will happen at that time. But for the sake of trying to raise money for the backer kit, we just kind of looked at how much would we have to charge versus what a soft cover is.
Right.
And frankly, for $35 at the soft cover level, you might as well just go soft cover. But if you want to hold off, Jacob, if you're overseas, you can go ahead and wait, and there'll be a PDF EPUB combo in it. Mr. Gunn asks, Don, making 80, 90 bucks a day, applaud you exploiting your own children. We don't want to go to war today. No. Where there's a whip, there's a way.
That's right.
Whip is such a hard word. We prefer switch. It sounds nicer, but you know, Mr. Gunn, you know how it is.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not slave labor because we do feed them. So technicalities.
Did you ever have to go out to the woods and cut your own switch?
When I was little?
Yeah.
Actually, no, but I'll tell you what, just the threat of when your dad comes home from overseas, he's going to have a chat with you. That was enough to keep me in line most of the time.
Well,
because my dad did not want to have to come back from the Middle East because he flew over there when I was little. We lived in the UK growing up. And worst thing I could do is my mom say, your dad's coming home next week. I'm letting him know what you did. So
I was sent to the woods out back to
I
brought back the smallest little stick. It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Then they go out and they get the big one. So In-Base Day says, will the art prints be black and white or full color? Okay. And this is something we were very, very clear in, I hope, in our backer kit. On the soft cover level with the perfect binding, that is a black and white interior. The full color interior with all the full color art and everything, that is only in the hardcover case bound level in there. So that is the black and white. Now, the EPUB PDF versions, no matter what level you are, is full color. So, and by the way, we did PDF because of people with computers and laptops, and then the EPUB is good on phones and such.
Right.
Scott Mulder says, how close are we to funding goal? You might have mentioned that, but I was too late. We funded about 2 hours ago. So we are fully funded, Scott. We're good to go. 5 days in, we funded. And by the way, Scott, you are part of this just like everybody else because you helped us make this happen. Thank you early on for your support.
Yeah. The goal is 5K. I think you're at 52.15 right now.
Nice. We're picking up good. Excellent. In based, a Switch. I heard all kids want one. Yeah. Mom, can I have a Switch? Yes, you can. Go
Yeah.
out back and get one. Mommy, not that kind of Switch. Too late.
My kids were still young, but they were asking for tablets, and so I went and got the Slate tablets.
Oh,
And I was like, these were tablets when Meme went to school.
that's right. Scott Mulder says, yes, it's a Michigan thing to get your own Switch. I grew up in the UK, so I lived in Michigan a lot growing up, but a majority of my formative younger years was in the UK. And trust me, in the UK, they bent you over the desk and you got the paddle where I went to school at. And trust me, our headmaster hated American kids, despised us. So
Well, I went to an American high school on the Air Force Base,
lucky you.
run by the
I
Department.
was on the
There
economy
were no
over there.
switches.
Yeah. Mr. Gunn, he says, Tom, yes, sir. My mama knew how to do it. Yep. And also, Tom, he says, my mama insisted on green switches about the diameter of a pencil. Oh, yeah, they had that nice flop back deck.
Oh yeah, nice track tool.
And then Mr. Gunn says to in-based, LOL, yeah, for sure, it's an Atari 2600, but yes, yeah. So basically, you're basically with this, no matter what level you get, you're going to have the digital ability to do the game, which helps people a lot. And the PDF and EPUB versions, again, are full color. So Scott Mulder also said we had to make those paddles for the teachers in shop class. Oh, man, that's extra cruel, man. You had to actually make your own weapons of mass destruction? Holy shit.
My mother liked the wooden spoon, and she left one in the glove box for so long that you know how the car heats up that I guess it had dry rotted, and so she got so mad one day she grabbed it out of the glove, she turned around and went to crack us with it, and just broke in half over my knee.
Oh,
And
I
then
got one for you with my mom.
laughed at that because she had nothing to hit us with afterwards.
My mom never used a belt, paddle, or anything on us. What my mom did was something else. My mom had natural, these long, hard nails. They weren't fake, they were natural. And she'd grab us by the arm. Yeah, I'll take the Switch any day of the week over my mom's claws. Man. Let's see here. Mr. Gunn. Mr. Gunn says, Don, we had paddle in our school in Michigan. The gym teacher, Mr. Costas, was the enforcer. Why is it always the art teacher or the gym teacher?
Because they have nothing else to do. They don't teach real classes.
Yeah, true. Agile Monk says I have the paddle, switches, and wooden spoons. Old school, the trifecta of beatdowns. And the belt. Can't forget the belt. That was my dad's thing.
Right.
But my dad would take it, he'd like triple fold it. So it was only like that long. By the time he folded it up, but it was like that thick. Oh, yeah. And then he'd march you around a circle, grab you by one arm, and he'd be like, no. He'd be like, whack, 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 walking around circles. But enough of the Stars and Sales premiere of the game. We're talking about it. We're talking about corporal punishment. Gotta love it. The fond memories us older guys have.
For the game. That's what we're talking about here.
That's right.
Add your own.
That's right.
They outlawed corporal punishment in schools in New York State when we moved there in the Air Force. And so I remember like third and fourth grade, I remember the nuns complaining that they could no longer hit us. And I'm thinking like, well, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
but no, basically, that's pretty much Stars and Sales as it sits right now. Like I said, as far as everybody, and some good questions about, and it's a good, viable question. Will this game really be ready based on the technicality of it? Yes, it will be. And like I said, we're lucky because before we even went live with this, we talked about going live last September, and we just kept putting it off, I did. And the reason why I kept putting it off because I just am no longer going to do Kickstarters until I have everything in-house ready to pull the trigger. Because the last thing I want to be able to do is let people down when they're expecting a game product and I have to say we're going to be delayed of it. So no more of that happening. And plus, by having everything in-house, you factor in some nonsense happening. I'm not going to go into. I'm not going to give the person the PR, but Eric and Tom know, and so do a few other people. So there you go. But real quick, InBase asks, will the art print for framing be color? Absolutely yes. And by the way, I forgot to mention that. You're going to get 6 pieces of 11 by 17 full color art. It is full color and is suitable for framing. And I thought about doing something. I have some of the original pencil art, and I thought about doing like a just a freebie at the end of it when everything's all done and said. Put everybody's name in a hat. So Eric, you got to show me the software you used. It was you did it one time where it did the cycle through and chose
You
an
need
automatic.
you need StreamYard for it, regretfully, and we're
Okay, we'll find an alternative then. But basically, I thought about giving away one piece of the original pencil art to one lucky person. Just kind of like draw a name out of the hat, and there you go. So, but yes, it's all full color. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much Stars and Sales. You can still back it. Like I said, we got 16 days to go. If you've backed it at the basic level or whatnot, you can always add on to it. You can always add stuff to it if you want to go back to it and do it. Parasocial says, will it be rolled up to protect it from fold marks that prevent framing? Every print that I ever do and send, I always send in a tube, rolled up. I hate folds. It's just that. So it'll come in a poster tube with 2 plastic caps. So no worries there.
Yeah.
But,
no ghost of Middle Earth role playing from Iron Crown Enterprises with those folded maps that you could never really.
Yeah,
lay on a
exactly. Like you look at the Greyhawk maps; those beautiful maps, and they're fold marks on them.
Oh yeah, and once that map is old, where the corners of the folds, that's where you start getting holes. It's terrible.
Yep. InBase Ace has a bunch of ping pong balls and a basketball to do. Yep, just gotta be able to pick a name basically. So, but yeah, so there's where we're at. Again, the link's down below. You can also go to. I'm going to go ahead and post in the comments section of this video a direct link to the backer kit, or you can go to backer kit and basically search Stars and Sales. Real quick, Agile Monk says, what makes this game unique in its category swashbuckling? Well, it's unique because of the scope of it, what you're allowed to do, because you can do everything from long distance combat, you can do melee combat, missile combat, ship-to-ship combat, you can do ship-to-ship boarding, where ships bump up against each other and one crew rushes the other crew. So it's really kind of a really unique way of gaming because it has kind of like all the styles of gaming. And then
also, I think part of the uniqueness is the setting, because it's not just on the high seas, it's in space, it's traveling to other planets, it's
yes. And also in the game itself, there are kind of like almost like a how-to rules on if you want to create your own system. Mr. Gunn says, Don in a tube, nice. Joe the lawyer will be happy. He can convert the tube to a wacky tobacco smoke maker. You know what? I imagine you can on that. We call them bongs here in Michigan. But since Michigan, it's legal here in Michigan, I can say that without any issues or problems. I personally don't partake, but I know many people that do. But and then Scott Muller says it's also unique that it is sci fantasy. Yes, it's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy steampunk. Errol Flynn, Robin. It's just a really weird mix that's so unique.
Now,
so
I was thinking this earlier, and I didn't mention it then. That the whole whimsy, inspired by stuff out of Disney, Treasure Planet, i.e., Treasure something. Yeah. That with the whole whimsical side, and there's no, and player death does not have to be a thing. This would almost sounds like it would be an ideal, and you can correct me, RPG for playing with your kids.
Absolutely, it would. Yes, it would be, and that's kind of like one of the thoughts about it, because we are adhering Matter of fact, I can click on it real quick. If you notice in the bottom left-hand corner of the book, there's a 13 plus. We're actually starting all of our games are adhering to a thing called the TTGRA, which is the Tabletop Game Rating Authority. And basically what that is, that's an initiative that Wizard Tower Games began to kind of give parents an idea of when they buy a game from Wizard Tower Games and or from somebody who's using the TTGRA, that they know kind of what the age range for their kids are. So, yes, that's the whole point behind all of this is we want the game child friendly, but also adult enough where adults want to play it too and have fun. So there's the flexibility there that you can do.
Now, will this game be played? Will there be any demonstration games at WizardCon this year?
Don't know yet. I have to talk to Paulie about that because the problem is Paulie's in Australia and Paulie's going to make an appearance via video prompt. We're talking right now about having a game in a conference room where Paulie can run the game via monitor, from the TV via live link and such. So that is a strong maybe. I'm not going to guarantee it or anything like that. Mr. Gunn or Son says Tenkar's Tavern downtown. For the record, my stupid comes from a combination of congenital issues, 70s parenting, environmental issues, and old age. No drugs, not prescribed by a licensed doctor. No problem, Mr. Gunn. You're all in good fun. Always happy to have you on the channel. And Vanishing Tower Press. Well,
just want to point out, he said no drugs prescribed by a licensed doctor. That did not rule out unlicensed doctors.
That's right. We know Mr. Gunn. We know the caveats we got thrown in there.
Yeah.
Vanishing Tower Press, thanks to tuning into the video. They say, because I haven't found one, I'm in the process of writing it up, but I don't want to write a new game if I don't need to. You know what? Check out the game. It is a really, really cool game. And it has, like I said, just a lot of things for a lot of different people. Broad age range. If you want to have death and dying in it, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. A lot of flexibility in it. So, so that's basically Stars and Sales. I just wanted to kind of do a brief video tonight, ask the publisher questions. People, thank you very much for tuning into our video. Again, we got 16 days to go on this. We would appreciate it a lot if people would take the Stars and Sales link that if you go to BackerKit, copy the link to the fundraiser and just share it on your page or share it with your friends. It'd be greatly appreciated. We're trying to get the word out there. This is, again, a really cool, unique game. And the more money we can get raised in this, the more we're going to do. We want to do the cardboard ships. We want to do the big printed ships and such. But we can only do that if we raise more money. So, Eric, I hope to God your Kickstarter Oogle Ease Kung Fu stuff is accurate.
Hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm still seeing 12 to 15. But we need your help, folks. Just saying.
People, you heard it right here. If we raise the 12 to 15 grand, this man is going to be consulted from now on in any other fundraiser that I do, and he will be hired out. I will rent him out to people.
Oh, I'll be renting it. I work for cheap, folks. See me at a con, buy me a beer. You probably get some worthless advice.
Yep, and Eric and Tom will be at WizardCon anyways. And also, for those of you, just to let you know, we're all going to be at TotalCon this year. So swing on by TotalCon. That is next month. So everybody, thanks for tuning in to our live tonight. Again, thanks for the awesome questions. I hope I answered them. I just wanted to make sure everybody kind of had a thank you from me and Paulie. Right now, it's like late night, early morning with Paulie. So, and yes, this is only on BackerKit right now. Once BackerKit is done in 16 days, the softcover version along with the PDF and EPUB will be available on our new website. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. Tom and Eric, thank you for coming on tonight. This is kind of impromptu, last minute, I know. And again, everybody, hit the like and subscribe. Be much appreciated. And also pay attention to BackerKit. We're going to be doing, as you know, I'm doing almost daily updates. We're going to continue that through the entire 16 days, and you never know what's going to crop up, what we're going to throw in, what we're going to add as an add-on. it's gonna get wild and crazy, folks. Can't wait. So thanks for tuning in. Have a good night, and